everyone, it's Brianna and Erica here from the Chapter Relations team. We just wanted to connect with everyone because we've heard so many questions about using Zoom, and obviously we'll be using Zoom on Monday for the virtual LTC experience. So we wanted to just put together some tips and tricks and give you an idea of what you can do with Zoom, because there's quite a lot you can do, and we've been discovering that as we've been going along these last few weeks. So here we go.
All right, here we go.
So some of you have a paid membership basically to Zoom, and others do not. And for those that do not, you actually do have the option to participate with a basic or free tier. And with the free tier, you can host group meetings up to 40 minutes. And if you happen to have a one-on-one meeting with someone, that would be unlimited. But if you do want to get unlimited time for groups, you would need to upgrade to a paid account. And we can always help you with that. As far as recording the meetings, you can do that whether you have a paid or an unpaid version of Zoom. And the recorded files can be uploaded to file storage services like Google Drive or Dropbox, and can be put on video streaming services like YouTube.
So I'm going to go over the basic steps on how to schedule a webinar. So basically you're going to go to the Zoom website, zoom.us. You're going to go under webinar and schedule a webinar. So you'll enter basic information about your webinar. You're going to put in your topic. You're going to put in when it is, the duration of it, your time zone. We typically do not include a password or a registration, because obviously registration should be through Cvent in order to get your engagement credits. So you'll want to do all of your registration through Cvent. Then once you put in all of your details, your event will be created. And this is where you're going to see your invitation. So you're able to copy your invitation and send that out to all of your invitees. And this is how they're going to be able to get into your webinar. When it's time to actually start your webinar, you're going to go to Start Webinar, and that's how it's going to get started. And obviously everyone will be able to join based on this invitation. From this area right here, you'll actually see that on the bottom of after you've put in your details of the webinar and you've created your webinar. This is going to be on the bottom of that information. So you'll see where it says polls or question and answers or live streaming. So you can actually go into polls here and put any polling questions in. The same thing for Q&A. And actually we'll get into more of this information later, but I just did want to mention that you can put that information in prior to starting the webinar. So once you start your webinar, if you did not put that information prior to, you can put it in this area as well. So when you get into your webinar, you can record. As Brianna was saying, you can record either into YouTube, Vimeo, or you can just record it and it goes onto your local computer, or it can go into the cloud, so you can just pull it and download it. Another tool that you can use is you can share your screen. So if you have a PowerPoint presentation, or if you just want your colleagues to be able to see your computer, share your screen. There's a Q&A. So again, if you want to ask questions, receive answers from your colleagues that you're sharing this webinar with, or you're working on this webinar with, you can do that as well. You can ask polling questions. There's a chat available, or you can also do live streaming on Facebook, Workplace by Facebook, or YouTube. So the participants, in order to see participants, it was actually on that bottom screen that I was just showing previously. You can click on participants and a panel will show up over here. So this is where you're actually going to see everybody that's in the webinar with you at that point in time. You can also change your attendees so that they're either attendees or they're panelists. And actually, Brianna and I just found out on this particular webinar that in order to have your picture shown or be able to be in a live video, you have to be a panelist. So you'll want to change your attendee to panelist if you want them to actually be able to be seen on a video. So each attendee or panelist, they both have different responsibilities or different features that they're able to access depending on what you're looking for. And then also participants can either be muted or unmuted, and you have the option to either mute all or unmute all, or you can just go right over the attendee's name and you'll see a box show up that says unmute or mute, or give the option to talk as well.
And I think that as the host of the meeting, you have the option of who gets to share the video. So if you want just the panelists to share videos, you can click that. Oh, I guess that's this slide, but so I think that might have been our issue with this particular webinar versus you could always default it so that all attendees can share their video.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, so it really is dependent upon who you want to be able to share their screens, and you actually have the option to do that under advanced sharing options. And you can actually see that again, it would be on your bottom of your screen of your webinar, and there would be a little arrow that you could click on and it'll bring it up that says advanced sharing options. So then on this page, if you go to this little arrow right here next to stop video, you're actually going to get a settings button that you can bring up all of these different areas. So some of these that I just wanted to highlight, you can actually touch up your appearance, which just gives a little bit of a highlight on your appearance if you want the option to do that. You can spotlight your video when you speak, so instead of having everybody just available on the side view under gallery view, which we'll go into later on in this webinar, you can just spotlight your video so that you're just being seen when you speak. You can display up to 49 participants per screen in gallery view. So if you have 49 different people on your webinar and you want to be able to see all of them, you have the option to do that. And then you can also do a virtual background. So we were playing around with this earlier, and we saw that you can actually change your background. So you can show you on a beach, or if you want to be, in San Francisco or wherever you want to be, you can actually change your background. One thing that we will let you know is that typically in order for that to happen, you need to have a blank background behind you first, and then you can put whatever background you want in.
So we wanted to just go through some setting options for participants. So Erica did a great job going through what you can do as the host of a Zoom meeting. But if you're just a participant joining, there's some great settings that you can adjust as well. So one of the things that can be helpful when you're joining a lot of Zoom calls these days is to default your settings to mute your audio and turn off your video so that those are already done when you join the meeting. So in order to do that, kind of like Erica was showing, you go into your settings, which is typically at the lower left portion of your screen once you've joined a Zoom meeting. There's a little arrow and you can go into settings there. So you'd go into settings and then audio, and then select mute microphone when joining a meeting. And then similar with the video, you can go into settings, video, and turn off my video when joining a meeting. Now, just because you default those settings doesn't mean that once you join the meeting, you can't decide to speak or turn on your video, but it just means that by default when you join, those settings are turned off. And when you're in the middle of a meeting, in order to, a quick way to mute and unmute is actually just using the space bar. You can press and hold the space bar to quickly mute and unmute your mic. Like Erica mentioned, Zoom also has different view options available. So there's gallery view, and gallery view allows you to see everyone or up to 49 people in the meeting at one time. So to turn that on, you would just click the tab, which is in your upper right corner, that says gallery view. And then in order to change it back to see the speaker view, you would just select speaker view then in the top right corner. So that allows you to either just focus in on the speaker or see everyone at the same time. You can also hide non-video participants. So if people, when you're looking at a gallery view, it would show you normally everyone, even if they're choosing not to share their video. So it would just say their name in a black screen in their little box. If you don't want to see those, you can also modify that setting. So you just go into Settings, Video, Meetings, and then check Hide Non-Video Participants. And then you would not see their black blank picture box. And you can always modify those settings at any time.
Perfect. Thank you, Brianna. So just some additional fun areas, I guess, of Zoom. So if you wanted to participate in interactive games, we know obviously a lot of people are, we're social distancing right now. So if you ever wanted to do with your chapter leaders, if you had, a networking event, or if you just wanted to get together just to talk and network, some fun things that you can do is in interactive games that work with Zoom. So one of them is the Jackbox games. Sorry.
Easier said.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah.
So you can purchase party packs of digital games. Each game has different player counts, so really it's designated for anywhere between 4 and 16 players. And you can really run them on a number of different platforms, and the platforms are listed here for you. And here's our how-to resource, so you can actually click on the link and it will show you how to run these Jackbox games from your computer. And then here are some other games that we can play on Zoom. Bingo, Categories, Most Likely To, Trivia, Name, Place, Animal, Thing, Pictionary, Heads Up, Psych, or Charades. So just some fun things that you can intertwine in your networking events or any sort of events that you might be having.
Absolutely. So you could do those with your HFMA family or just your family when you connect.
Absolutely. So thank you all for joining us. We hope that this was helpful. And if you do have any other questions or concerns, we are always here to help you and to guide you. So please reach out to us at chapter@hfma.org. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.